Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Betty Martin. I'm the Deputy Director here at the library. Today's special guest is Dr. Lisa Platero Brown, a Navajo author from Gallatin, Mexico. She wrote the Living Full Cookbook, Making Family Meals Abundantly Good, which features a variety of New Mexican cuisine, Native American food, and family favorites that she grew up eating. And the library actually has a couple of copies if anyone is interested in checking one out. Not only is it full of 100 recipes, but it also has a toolbox for hosting, serving, and setting the table. Lisa also shares research-based findings on why family meals are important, along with stories from growing up on the reservation. She spent her childhood in Window Rock, Arizona, and Gallatin, New Mexico, where she was surrounded by the lively culture and the fusion of Mexican and Native American culture, agriculture, and cuisine. Family meal times were not just a meal to be enjoyed together, but a time of storytelling, laughing, and celebrating our family unity, a lifestyle Lisa refers to as living full. Today, Lisa will be demonstrating how to bake blue corn tea cookies with pinyons. Yum! Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad and honored to be with you guys for Native American Heritage Month. Wow, what an exciting time and a beautiful day here in Texas. I am in my home kitchen. And I want to introduce you all in my home language. Lisa Platero Brown Yanishia, Twitter Kosher Nishlan, Twitter Jeetney Bashish Chi, Haftoy Dashiche, Dashie, Dashanella. Hello, friends and family. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. As it was mentioned, I did write the Living Full Cookbook. And so this recipe I formulated just for this presentation. And so if you're watching, take notes if you can. I'm really excited to make this cookie for you today. You know, it's the holidays, it's the holiday season. It's a great time to break out your oven mitts and your rolling pin and just have fun. It's time to bake. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we begin, I'll just let you know what ingredients we have today. We have some olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is really good. And I like to keep it in one of these jars so I keep it handy for measuring, and I use it all the time with just about everything. I'll be roasting my pinyons today in the olive oil, and I have pinyons. So these are raw. They've been shelled already, and I will be using that as well as some local Texas honey. This is unfiltered honey. You can use a honey of your choice, but I'm a local girl. I like to buy local. I'm in Texas, so I bought some local honey today. I am using organic vanilla extract. You can use any type of vanilla. I have baking powder. I have cinnamon, roasted blue corn. Now this blue cornmeal is roasted, so it's not the same that you would use for like making tamales or let's say masa, because it is that time of season where people are making tamales. But this is just plain roasted stone ground corn, and this comes from Brothers Foods in Flora Vista, New Mexico. My dad brought this for me. He's visiting from New Mexico. So I am so happy that I have the real thing today. I have all-purpose flour, pure sugar cane and kosher salt, eggs, and butter, unsalted butter. As I go through the ingredients, while I'm making it, I'll let you know the measurements and you can write the recipe down. So the first thing we want to do is get our oven ready. When you're baking, that kind of takes time to get the oven going. So right now I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. And I have a baking sheet. You can use a cookie sheet of your choice. I recommend using a parchment paper or a silicone lined mat. I like to use this because it helps when it comes to measuring, and the other side is pretty cool too. They have the circles in case you're wanting to make a more even cookie. So let's flip this back over, and that's ready to go. Next to that, I have a cooling rack, so that's ready. These cookies are going to be as thick or as thin as you want them to be. For a tea cookie though, you want to make them a little bit thinner, and so they'll have that nice snap. So when you dip them in your tea, it'll just be that perfect texture, not too soggy, but just right. Okay, so let's get started. We are going to heat up, I have a hot plate here, and I'm going to heat up some olive oil, 1/4 teaspoon. You don't want your plate to get too hot because you don't want it to get smoky and burn. Just enough to coat your pinons. So that's 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of raw shelled pinons. I'm gonna swirl my oil around. And these are so pretty. It's that season. You can use pinyons and with salads, with fish, and I think they just pair well with this cookie. They're not very crunchy raw, but when you roast them, it definitely releases some of those natural oils, and it does give it some texture. You're not going to get a full crunch, but you'll definitely get that nuttiness, that flavor we're looking for. It just takes a minute or two to roast, so you just want to toss them around. My cameraman is out today, so I wish you could come around and you could actually see what this looks like. But these pinyons are going to turn slightly golden. You'll see a small char on them. They'll get a little bit browned, which is good. That's what you want to see. Just keep tossing them around. It takes about a minute. It does not take long to roast pinyons. Unless you're roasting them shelled, that's a little bit different. So my family is from Rema, New Mexico. That's where my mother and my grandmother, Shamasana, is from. And on her property is a lot of pine trees. When we were little, we would go pick pinyons. And I would remember I would help climb trees and shake the trees while we gathered pinyons. And it was like hunting for gold and picking up treasure. So that's what these pinyons remind me of, going to my grandma's house during the late summers, early fall, and we would pick pinyons. And I just remember when we would cook them, how my mom, she would put a little bit of water, a little bit of salt, and they were just so good. I loved pinyon season. It brings back a lot of memories. Okay, so now they're getting nice and a little bit golden here, which is what I want. And I'm going to off the heat. I'm gonna put them back in my bowl. And I will chop them up eventually, but I'm gonna let them cool first before I chop them. So I'm gonna transfer my pinyons, and I wanna come close. I wish you could see. They are golden here. You can kind of see them turn nice and brown. So let's go ahead and put those in a dish nearby. And let's get ready to bake. As I said, it's holiday season. So in my house, I love to host. I love to have family over. I think it's just a great time for everyone to get away from the busyness of life and just come together with family and enjoy one another. During Thanksgiving, for example, what we do is we would split up, we would create a menu, and then we all make our own dishes and we would bring it together kind of potluck style. And every year my father and I were responsible for dressing the turkey. And I was just always left with that responsibility and it was so much fun. And I also bake. So I usually do pumpkin pie. We'll do, this year I'm going to do sweet potato pie. So it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. It's hard to believe that Thanksgiving's already coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Oh my goodness. So let's go ahead, you guys, and let's get ready to measure out some ingredients. So I like to work with the wet ingredients first in the mixer. And doing that, we are going to combine 2 sticks or 1 cup of unsalted butter. I like to use unsalted because I like to add salt. I love using kosher salt. It just has a nice texture to it when you're baking with it. It's very pronounced. And so here is my room, and it must be room temperature. And there it goes, because it's room temp. It's so slippery. All right, so that's 1 stick, and let's add another. And it is key, you guys, that this butter is room temperature. It's got to be soft to get that fluffy texture. If it is cold still, you could always pop it in the microwave on a soften mode. If you have that mode on your microwave, just soften it up just a little bit. You don't have to melt it, but you just want it to be soft enough so that you can whip it together and that everything is nice and fluffy, because that's what we want. We want that rise in our cookie, and we want to see those air pockets. So this part is actually really crucial. we're gonna add 2 eggs. Now, I'm partial to Eggland's Best. I didn't believe it when my sister told me, you gotta use Eggland's Best. And I thought an egg's an egg, right? It's, you know, whether you're using grain fed or vegan fed, I don't know. I just thought, what's the difference until I tried it. Eggland's Best is actually really good. I noticed the difference when I cook with it. This is 2 eggs, you guys, room temperature. And honestly, it's fluffy. It's actually, and it actually has less cholesterol when you read the packaging. You pay a little bit more, but I think the benefit is, you know, you get more health-wise, a better quality egg, in my opinion. I like to read labels. I'm always looking for ingredients that work well and are as natural as possible. And so you'll see in my cookbook, I have a whole listing of what's in my kitchen and some items that I like to keep on hand. Before I turn this on, I'm going to add some sugar. So I'm going to do 1 cup of sugar. And I'm gonna use my half a cup. So I'm gonna do 2 of these since my sugar pot is not the biggest. And just give it a little shake to level it out. Let's add that. Pure cane sugar is also my favorite as opposed to the white sugar. I don't cook with sugar a whole lot, but you know, it's hard to avoid when it comes to cookies. I just had to buy sugar. I had to use sugar. And then let's add some organic vanilla extract. I prefer this over imitation. Again, it's natural and you can taste the difference with the ingredients. It is quality, so I do appreciate a good organic vanilla extract. So I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You know, one time my grandma, and she loves to bake, my Chanela, my father's mom, when I would smell this, I used to think, oh, I bet that tastes so good. And I remember the day I took a swig of this as a kid. You don't want to do that. I never came close to it since. I love baking with it, but it does not taste good. I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm gonna lift up my bowl here and I'm gonna go ahead and blend these together on medium speed until it's nice and fluffy. And while that's going, I'm gonna measure out my flour. I like to prepare my dry ingredients in a separate bowl because everything will just clump up together. When you're baking cookies, everything kind of has to be really methodical. And so that looks really good. I'm gonna give it another, just to whip up those eggs and start to see peaks begin to form. And you wanna see that butter just turn into this nice cream mixture with the sugar. You don't wanna see any lumps. That looks really good. Okay, so for the dry ingredients, we're gonna add 2 cups, maybe 2 1/4. We're gonna use a little bit more at the end when we dust our countertop and we roll out our cookie dough. So I'm gonna do 2 cups here. Now, when I was in home ec at Gallup High School, when we learned to use flour, we had to sift it. And it's a whole nother process to do that. I just like to dig in and just level it off with my hands. We all do things different, and that's just how I like to do it. So that's 1 cup of flour. Let's do another. And this is all-purpose flour, you guys. It is different when you start to use different flours, such as wheat, or you get into more keto cooking, low-carb flours like coconut or almond. It's going to change your entire recipe. You may have to add other agents to make your cookies or your breads rise. So just keep that in mind. You probably don't want to substitute in this recipe for anything else. Just all purpose is fine. So that's 2 cups. I'm going to add another 1/4 cup and save the last 1/4 cup for when I dust my countertop. So that's 2 1/4. This is where I like to involve the family. I love to involve the kids in this stage. Whenever my son hears the oven beep and he knows it's preheating, he gets so excited. And he's just like, Mom, what can I do? How can I help? And so I love having extra hands in the kitchen, especially when it comes to flour and things like that. It's so much fun to involve the family, get our hands dirty. So that's 2 1/4 cups. And then what we want to do is add a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. This is not as pronounced in this recipe as you might think, but I think it adds another note, another layer of flavor. Once all these ingredients are combined, you won't be able to taste it necessarily by itself, but I think it gives more dimension to the recipe, in my opinion. And yeah, so you can try it with or without. I know some people have allergies, but it's the holidays. Cinnamon goes well with everything. All right, and then we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Kosher salt is more grainy. It almost looks like sea salt, but it's not as, like, it doesn't have as high as like a sodium content. It's almost flaky, and it's not fine like the iodized salt. So this is really good to use, and you can definitely taste the kosher salt because it has bigger flakes. Okay, and then of course our baking powder. I like to use baking powder that does not have aluminum in it. Doesn't have to be organic, but this one I picked up at my local grocery store, and it doesn't have aluminum. So some of those things you can check for in the ingredient list. It's just less metal you're putting in your body. All right, so this is I'm only going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Just gonna add it right here on top. And then I'm just gonna grab my spatula, or you can use a spoon, anything just to mix it together before you add it into the mixer. All right, that's combined. Now we're gonna add some blue cornmeal. That is the star, you guys. So this blue cornmeal is very fine. It's stone ground, and it's so gorgeous. It's got that blue tint. It's gonna give our cookies a nice blue tint. So we are just going to let that, let it be who it is. It's gonna be natural. We're not gonna add anything to that. We're just gonna add it to what we already have going on. And that is going to be 1 cup. So I'm gonna add a couple 1/2 cups worth. Again, just level it out, drop it in. Blue cornmeal is just a beautiful ingredient. In my recipe, or my cookbook, I have a recipe for making blue cornberry pancakes. You can add it to just about anything, and it's so good. I really enjoy it. And being from New Mexico, blue cornmeal is it just adds just an extra dimension, another level of texture and flavor. People make tamales with it. You can make corn cake. You can do cakes. You could do muffins, cupcakes. There's so many different things that you can do with blue cornmeal. So I've combined it. It looks pretty good. Just kind of fold it in, and I like to turn my bowl, turn, scrape, till it's nice and combined. Okay, now we're gonna add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients, and then we'll be rolling them out to make our cookie. So how's everyone doing today on this Saturday? If you're watching, can you let us know where you're watching from? I would love to know who's watching and where you're from. If you have any questions, when I get these in the oven, it'll take about 16 minutes, so we have some time to interact. Hopefully our moderators are still there, and we can, send your questions and they'll be able to ask me. All right, so I'm going to lower my bowl and just give this a good scrape, just to make sure all my butter and all my ingredients have worked its way to the bottom. Again, we want it to be nice and fluffy, and this looks really fluffy. It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my mixer, and I'm going to add this into parts. I don't want to just dump it all. It's going to make a big mess. I want to just add it into thirds. So I'll go ahead and put it on medium speed. I'm going to take my spatula and add it slowly. Give it a chance to mix, give it a chance to combine. And you can start to see that butter just pick up that cornmeal, that flour. I'm gonna do it again. You gotta remember your mixer is on, so you don't wanna put your bowl too close. So I made that mistake. All right, so it's combining. It looks really good. And I'm gonna add the last third. I don't know what it is about this time of year, but it is my favorite. Well, actually, I could tell you why. A couple of reasons. Because my oldest son, my firstborn, was born during this time, in the month of November. His birthday is in 2 weeks. He'll be turning 6. I'm just gonna let that go for a minute. And my husband's birthday is also this month. So I have a true story. It's kind of a funny story. And so when I graduated with my doctorate, I graduated from the University of Phoenix. I had family come into town. My husband's family from Chicago, my family from New Mexico. We all met at our house in Arizona when I was living in Phoenix. We had everybody over. We had a good meal catered. It was just so much fun. And we finished our food. I'm sorry, I left out. This is one minor detail. I had my graduation that morning. That afternoon, we all sat around the table. We had our catered food, our Thanksgiving meal, and we just enjoyed ourselves. I mean, you guys, we had the best time. I mean, laughing. Everybody had seconds and thirds and fourths, and we were just having a good time. And I just had to get out for a walk. Now, I was pregnant with my son, all the way pregnant. I was full term. I was very uncomfortable, and I just wanted to get out for a walk. So I took our little dog Faith out for a walk. And when I came home, I plopped on the couch and my water broke. And I went into labor shortly after that. I had to go to the hospital, and I had my son, who was 6 pounds, 13 ounces, who is the joy and the light of my life and the light of our family. And before he was born, I'm just glad he let me have a Thanksgiving meal. So I'm grateful for that. All right, so right now I'm just letting that rest for a minute, and I've dumped out my pinyons. I chopped these up, you guys, and I hear a little crunch, which is what I want. They're roasted, so I'm just trying to chop it up a little bit evenly. It's a little bit of a rough chop. It's not going to be a perfect chop. Let me just finish getting these nice and chopped up. Takes a minute. Pinyons are really small. But yeah, this holiday season has really just made me thankful for the year. You know, we've endured so much during this pandemic, you guys, having to stay home. Some of us lost loved ones, family members. The holidays are going to be different this year. And, you know, I would just encourage you all watching and watching on the playback is don't take anything for granted. Don't take anyone for granted. You know, we just don't know when we'll see each other again. And, you know, I just think it's a beautiful thing whenever you can get family together and you can be together. If there's anything that you're doing in the kitchen, I would encourage you to invite someone from the living room, invite someone from their room, wherever they are in the house, and bring them into your space, into where you are. And just start to ask questions, start to ask, you know, think about the good old days, the memories, and, you know, loved ones that are no longer with you. And, you know, there's so many things we can talk about. And you'd be surprised, the quality of those relationships are always improved whenever we can become more open and have honest communication. And that's what I encourage in my cookbook as well, because those are the things in life that really matter. And we don't want to just have another Thanksgiving. This is really a chance for us to share just the joy of being alive and the blessing of being alive and having good food, obviously. So, all right, I'm going to clear some of this before we get the cookie dough onto our countertop. I cut up my pinyons and those are ready to go. So I'm going to need that spatula. Let me just get these out of the way here. All right. So I'm gonna move this, you don't need this.
Lisa, while you're putting that stuff away, I can read off some of the comments of where everyone's from.
Oh, good, okay, let's hear it.
Let's see. Well, first off, someone asked where they can purchase your cookbook. You want to tell them about your website?
Okay. Yeah, so my cookbook is available. I was in Gallup recently, and we sold completely out of my cookbooks, and I ordered more. I got some this week, and I have spiral bound available. I have it here. This would be a good time to share. This is my spiral bound cookbook, and this is great for laying flat. You can get these at livingfullcookbook.com. and you can choose the format you want. So I have the one that is flat. These are great for laying flat on the table. And I have the hard covers. I just ordered these, you guys. So these are not going to be available until the end of the month, maybe early December. So if you're looking for that gift for the holidays, say Christmas time, this would be really good. This is not going to be ready in time for Thanksgiving, but the coil bounds are available now. And if you want ebook, some of us like to cook and use our technology in the kitchen. It is available as well on the website, livingfullcookbook.com. You'll get it instantly, and you can digitally download it. It'll be accessible on your device. So that's another quick way to get it, and you don't have to worry about shipping. Good question.
Nice. Okay, we have people from lots of places.
Okay.
Sandra from Alaska. Wow, pretty far.
Oh, goodness.
Albuquerque, one from Gallup.
All right.
Well, a few from Gallup.
Shout out to Gallup. That's my hometown, and Albuquerque.
All right.
And Alaska. Thank you for watching.
Sunshine is in Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes. All right. I know where that is.
Linda is from Santa Maria, California.
Hey. Hi, California. Awesome.
He from Fort Defiance.
Ah, yes. Hi.
Delphina from Shiprock.
Shiprock in the house. So you know exactly where to find this bad boy. That's where we get the cornmeal. That's where my dad goes. That's exciting. Wow, all over. Isn't it amazing how we can connect like this? Honestly, I would love to have my own cooking show. And we could just shout out. I could do this all day long. This is such fun. Guys, I really do want to do a YouTube channel. I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm just doing virtual cooking demonstrations right now for Native Heritage Month. And, you know, of course, I want to continue to do this. If you want to see more of this, let us know. Please let me know. Do you want me to make a YouTube channel? And what are some foods that you would be interested in having me cook? I think it is important for us to share more of our cultural foods and share the beauty of our culture, our heritage. I just love it. This is as though you guys are in my kitchen with me, and we're about to enjoy some good food. So this is the cookie dough. There it is, guys. It's a nice, beautiful consistency. It is on the softer side because remember, we use room temperature butter. We have room temperature eggs. So I'm just scraping it all out. I don't want to leave any of this goodness behind. This is where my kids would help me. I love spatulas. I live for spatulas. I probably go through a spatula every few months because of how often I use them. All right, this is beautiful. I'm happy with this cookie dough. So remember that last quarter cup of last quarter cup of flour. This is where we would use that. So I dusted my surface here. This is where we get our hands in the dough, and we're just going to blend that last quarter cup here. And I know it's about a handful. Seems like a lot at first, but this is just to get it pliable so nothing sticks to you. So when you're making a tea cookie, what makes them fun is you can use cookie cutters, just like a sugar cookie. So you guys, this is where you can combine the flour and you would roll it out after refrigerating it for about an hour or two. And I have a dough behind me that I'm gonna roll out, and we're gonna bake that one. So this one is actually gonna be for another time. You can freeze, you know, freezers are our friends, you guys. You might think, this is actually a lot of cookie dough. You probably could make a few dozen from this. It's gonna last you. You could just divide it like so, get your plastic wrap, and just put it in a log, put it in the fridge. That's how easy it is to work with this stuff. Your cornmeal, your rest, all the ingredients is there. Nothing's gonna happen to it. Just put it in plastic wrap and then stick it in your freezer. This, I'm just gonna put back in there because I have to come around there to get my plastic, and I could do that later. I'm gonna roll out the real cookie dough that I had in the refrigerator. You could leave it in overnight, or you can at least let it get a little bit more hard in the fridge for about an hour. That's usually how it would go. But since we're doing this virtually, I'm going to take out my cookie dough, and this is what it would look like. Look at that nice blue color. Isn't that pretty? I mean, this just really takes on that blue corn color. Look at how beautiful that is. So pretty. And I can work with this. So again, dust your counter. You know, we are going to, I like to dust the top whenever I'm working with a rolling pin. I sold out of these when I was in Gallup, you guys, but if you want to get this rolling pin, I can order more. It says just like Shema. You know, Navajo Shema means like my mom. And it says Living Full Company below. This is a gorgeous rolling pin, and I love it because you can hang on to the ends and this middle part will roll. It's amazing. I love it. And it's so pretty. I designed it. I love designing things. And that's the fun part about having your own business, is you can pick and choose what you want, what you want to share with people. And that's just like a part of you that you're sharing with the world. And these rolling pins, I have kitchen towels. I actually have other items for the home, such as candles and soaps, and those things will be available on the website at livingfullcompany.com. And if you're ordering a cookbook, it'll take you to the Living Full Company website. And we are on Facebook at Living Full Company LLC. And there I like to post things and what's going on. And I live in Texas, so I do markets, I do farmers markets and vendor events. I make jam and granola. A lot of fun. I love meeting people and getting out in the community. And I also go to senior living communities, so they have a safe place to shop. I'm a part of a network that goes to these senior living communities, and we basically provide a safe and enjoyable shopping experience for them, for the elderly. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's going to be a busy December. So I'm just rolling this out, you all, to about 1/4 inch. You don't want to work with it too much. It will get soft on you. So I will say that. You want to be careful with that. So here's my silicone lined pan. And let's see if I can get make some room here. Just set this over here so we can transfer our cookies. I'm not going to fill up the pan, but I am going to put maybe 6 or so. So these cookie cutters I have are heart-shaped. I have 2. And you don't want to use one that's too big. You want to use one about, about this. If you were to touch your middle finger to your thumb, or maybe a little bit bigger, maybe your ring finger to your thumb. You don't want them to be too huge. They are going to have a bit of a crunch, and you want them to dip in your cookie. You dip your cookie in your tea. So just go ahead and make your shapes. You can use any shape. Of course, if it's Christmas, you can use candy cane shape, snowflake shape. So I just made a few here, and I'm going to get my spatula and lift these onto my pan. I'm gonna do my best. That looks pretty good. All right, I have a heart-shaped one here. I have like a curly heart and then a straight flat heart. And we're gonna decorate these, so it's gonna be fun. Also, you guys, I do have some kitchen items for sale. So I like to work with other companies and local businesses supporting other entrepreneurs. So I have some snowflake cookie cutters that I'll have available on the website really soon. So look out for those. Do we have any other questions or anything else that came through? Just arranging these.
Hi, Lisa. It's Josh.
Josh.
Everyone who's watching, just to let you know, one of our Facebook viewers mentioned that your hardcover book is available through Amazon, and I just checked, and it looks like they do have some in stock. And we do have a few more people tuning in from the Phoenix area, from Waterflow, New Mexico.
Oh my goodness, all right. That's exciting, thank you guys. And yes, you know, we just got distribution, so the secret's out the bag. We just got distribution, which means that our cookbook is gonna be available in more stores. Hopefully soon. We're working with the printing company on that. It is actually, you can order through Amazon, and that hasn't been announced, but somebody beat us to it. You're welcome to order, place your orders there. So but thank you all for that. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my goodness, all these places you're naming, I've been there. I've lived in Phoenix for 15 years. I went to school at ASU. So this is my cookies, you guys. Look at how cute they look. Some are frilly, some are just straight around the edge, but we're gonna bake these. You can tell that they're not too thick. It's about 1/4 inch thick or so. And we're gonna bake these for about 14 minutes at 350 degrees. But I'm gonna set it to 13. So I have some time. We can ask more questions while these bake. We have about 13 minutes or so. I can get my plastic wrap and wrap up these cookies.
Someone is asking if you have a source for your shelled rock pinyons.
A source.
Yeah, where do you?
Yes, so I like to go to Sprouts. If you're in Albuquerque, I know New Mexico, Albuquerque has it. There's Sprouts here in Texas. I like to go there for most of my shopping needs. But you know, honestly, I'm a huge supporter of buying local. So if you have a company that is in your area, and you can just Google it, a place that has where you could buy local nuts or pine nuts, that would be a good option too to see. So you can support local businesses, local farmers. I like to buy local whenever I can. But I did get these pinyons today from Sprouts. And in Texas, we have peach farms, pecan farms, pecan nuts. Actually, on our way to Gallup, I got my hands on some pecans in an area on the way to Amarillo. I'm trying to think of the name of it. But they have this huge shop, and it's a pecan shop with pecan everything, ice cream, jams, butters with pecans, and it's just so, it's so cool. They have roasted pecans, cinnamon roasted pecans, and cashews, and there's just all these fun places when you take road trips. That's what I love about it. I really want to get back into doing road trips, because when you fly, you only see what's in the airport. But when you drive and you see something, you can just pull over. That's the fun part. And so speaking of local markets, so while I was in Gallup, one of the things that I was really excited about is coming back and doing a maker's market, like an open air market for other homemakers. other entrepreneurs, especially for those that are Native American. I really want to, help to lift up other entrepreneurs. If you know an entrepreneur, tag them, share this with them, because I want to encourage other Native American entrepreneurs and makers to continue this work. Sometimes the life of a business person and the work, owning a business, operating a business is not easy. And there are days when you want to quit. There are days when you think, is this really worth my time? Should I just go back to work? I've been there. But when you really put yourself out there and you apply yourself with your treasures and your time, the things that really matter to you are going to take you places. So I feel as though, I've been blessed, so I'm blessed to be a blessing. I want people to know and understand that I am not just about food, but I'm about family, and I am about sharing this message of family meals and getting together and using your skills for a greater purpose, your creativity to help others. And so I take great joy and pride in that. And I say that humbly. So just keep that in mind. If you want to connect with us, you can. Again, our social media, our Facebook page is Living Full Company LLC. Our Instagram is Living Full Co. I post there, and I want to begin to plan this makers market, hopefully for the spring, summertime next year in Gallup. I like to go home. I like to see my friends and my family and do events. And so I'm just looking forward to that. And it would, all of the makers that I would want to invite are those who make things centered around the home. So if you make furniture, artwork, home decor, kitchen goods, things like that, let me know, message me, let me know if you're interested, and hopefully we can partner with some of you.
Lisa, we also have someone, Myra from Melbourne.
From where?
Melbourne. I think that's Australia. Right?
Australia. Oh my goodness. Hello. From Texas. My goodness. I've always wanted to go to Australia.
And just real quick, those of you who are on Zoom with us, if you want to stay and chat with Lisa after the program, after the demonstration, feel free to stay on Zoom.
Awesome. And we have about 7 minutes on the cookies. I'm just going to take a quick look and turn my light on, make sure everything looks good, guys.
Lisa, do you know where in Gallup you can get pinyon nuts? Someone's asking.
Oh, in Gallup. I came across this store. It's downtown. It's right across the street from Camille's Cafe. Well, down the street from Camille's Cafe. I can't remember the name of that street, but it's called La Montanita Co-op. They have everything natural. They even have meat from Native American ranchers. They have fresh produce from local farms. They have essential oils, and you can buy nuts there in bulk. So check them out, La Montanita Co-op. They actually are one of the largest community-owned grocers. And I only know that because I picked up their publication while I was there. I went shopping there before I visited my aunt in Rema, and I bought some organic free-range chicken there. It's all frozen, but they do have fresh cheeses and dairy and probiotics, all the health stuff. So if you've never been, I encourage you to go. They do have their own publication. They have locations in Santa Fe and Albuquerque as well. And I'm glad that Gallup has it, because I think Gallup, I think it's good to have options for buying some of the more organic items and natural items. So I would check that place out, La Montanita Co-op. Good question. Okay, let me get getting ready to decorate. Let me get a plate. Those cookies smell amazing. I wish you all could smell what I smell.
And just a reminder, the recipe is posted on the Facebook, in the Zoom comments.
I'm sorry?
We'll have it your recipe. We posted it for you.
Oh, great. Yay.
If anybody wants us to print it, just request it at the library, we'll get it to you.
Yes, and it is available at the Octavia Fountain Public Library. If you're a student at the University of New Mexico, it is available there in rotation, circulation, and also in special collections at the UNM Zollinger Library. So check it out if you're a student. And like I said, it's available on digital download if you want it right away. There are some holiday recipes in there. So I will be demonstrating with Purdue University next week. I have my event schedule posted on my social media as well. And we're going to be preparing for the holidays. So I'm going to be making some fun holiday items from the cookbook. This cookie recipe, however, is not in the cookbook. I made this just for this demonstration for you guys. Hopefully, like I said, it'll be available on the website, but for the recipe, or excuse me, recipes in the cookbook, I have roasted vegetables. I have the cranberry jam that I make every year, and that's one of my favorites. So please check it out. I have an amazing chicken noodle recipe. And instead of chicken, substitute it for your turkey this year. I mean, that stuff is so good with turkey. I highly recommend it. So check it out whenever you can.
And as for your YouTube channel, they said, of course, anything with blue corn.
Awesome. That sounds good to me. I know I have blue corn pancakes in the cookbook, and I really should do that live and do it on YouTube so you guys can go back and watch it.
We have another question. Any tips on keeping the dough from sticking on the bottom on the cookie cutter? Elevation tips?
Oh, elevation tips. I would say just flour. Because I add in the beginning, it does call for 2.5 cups of flour. I save that extra 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of flour for the end, in case you do have that issue. I know with the higher elevations, your baking can be a little bit off, or your doughs can be a little bit off, but you could just add a little bit of extra flour. I wouldn't add anything else, honestly, but the flour should help take care of that if it's too sticky.
And that would help with keeping the dough from sticking to the cookie cutter?
Yes, you can dust it. So when you use your rolling pin, I dusted it a little bit on top. I rolled it, and also dust your countertop, your flat surface, with a little bit of flour. So when you put your cookie cutter on it, you just roll off the excess, and what you're left with are the actual cookies. And it usually comes off pretty easy when there's a floured surface. Good question. Okay, we have 2 minutes. So the beauty of this recipe, you guys, is that baking powder really gives it a nice full look. It almost looks like a sugar cookie. It doesn't expand, but it rises. And I love this recipe so much. And so they are going to be pretty warm when I get them out of the oven. I may have to let it cool for a few minutes. But once it cools a little bit, we can get the honey onto it. All you're going to do is just drizzle that honey on, or you can brush it a section of your cookie, and then just put some of those chopped up pinyons on it. So the honey is going to act as the glue for your pinyons, and it gives it just that nice crunch. You can toss these into your cookie dough, but I wouldn't recommend it, because these are not crunchy like you would a walnut or a pecan. These are more for like a topping. These really work well for topping. So I would encourage to put this and sprinkle it on the top after you apply your honey. So it looks like time is about 45 seconds. Let me go ahead and get it, and let's see how it looks. You want to transfer it to your you want to transfer it to your cooling rack right away, excuse me. That way you can get that cool air under your cookie. It'll start to cool down a whole lot faster instead of just keeping it in the pan. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let me come around here so you can see. This cookie, you could see it? See the rise on it? It's so cute. And if you look around the edges, you can actually see, get a better grip. You can actually see that it is starting to turn golden around the edges, and it's just so cute. So I'm gonna set it here. Sorry if I keep walking out of you, you guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and put them on my cooling rack. They should be stiff enough. They're not gonna be soft like a chocolate chip cookie where it'll be flimsy. These will be nice and stiff enough to transfer your cookie. And they look so cute. All right. And now you probably could get a better look at these. They are so gorgeous. Woo, don't slide off. Okay, so I have my honey. We're gonna wrap this up here, you guys. You know, I love a hot cookie. I love when cookies are warm. You can serve these with your tea. I also make my own herbal tea. You guys, I don't have it on the website right now, but I make a sage tea with lavender and rooibos. Some of you who came to my cookbook signing in Gallup bought it all. If you have, I'm not sure if anyone will be watching who came to that, but if you have, I'm gonna say something, because I've been getting a lot of good feedback on that tea, and I do want to make more. But that would be the perfect tea for this, or even Navajo tea if you're in the Four Corners area, or you can use like a nice hibiscus tea, a chamomile tea, a green tea. These are so good, and they will go with any tea that you want. And what makes these different from Christmas cookies, you guys, is we're not using frosting, we're using honey. So let's go ahead and use the honey. I'm just gonna take some on my brush, and just for the look of it, I'm going to brush it from the top right down to the corner here. So it's like a nice diagonal. This is where we can get artistic and just have fun. A nice diagonal line here. And I'm gonna take my pinyons and just add it, sprinkle it on. Some of it may drop, and that's okay. You just want to do a light press so that it sticks to the honey. And look at how gorgeous that is. Can you guys see that? So pretty. Let me come closer. Moderators, can you see that?
Yes, that looks excellent.
They are so beautiful, and they're warm in my hands. And I want to show you the other side so that you can see how nice and golden they have become. It's actually golden, and I apologize for the shadow, but it is golden. And so as they cool, they're only going to get more crispy. And when they break, they have like a nice snap to them. And this one, I'm going to do the whole cookie. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I had so much fun with you, and that was really super easy. And so like that, I would cover the whole thing with honey and then just dip it into your pine nuts like such. And if you really want to get fancy, you guys, you can melt some dark chocolate on the stove and dip them. That would be really good for Valentine's Day, wouldn't it? Valentine's Day, or just any day. Any day is a good day to celebrate and have a nice little dessert. Again, this isn't frosting, it's honey. So if you're really gonna get that natural flavor of the honey, that's just the right amount of sweetness. There's no dairy in this recipe. Everything is natural from scratch, and it's homemade. Awesome, these look amazing. I wish you could taste this, you guys. I really do.
We do too. I think we're gonna have to bake some for us.
And send them in the mail. And that's fun. Some people do that. You know, my neighbors are amazing. My neighbor, Brian, he makes the best sourdough artisan bread, and I make jam. So we do a trade. He brings his bread, and I give him a jar of jam. And you know, that's how it should be. You remember back in the day when we used to borrow a cup of sugar from our neighbor? Can't do that now. But I love my neighbors, and my neighbors are so cool and so fun, and they love to come over and try the jam. They're not afraid to ask, and I always have it on hand. So here we go, you guys. You know what? Let me transfer them to a plate. I don't think it would be right if I didn't have a plate. So let me grab one really quick.
Someone is asking how long they will last for storage, Lisa.
Oh, the cooked cookie or the after it's baked?
Maybe let's do both.
Okay, so let's see. Uncooked, I mean the uncooked dough, freeze it, it'll last you a few months. The cooked cookie, I would say you want to keep it probably for a week. Keep them covered in an airtight container. But look at how gorgeous that looks. There's our cookie.
Beautiful.
I want to come closer, but maybe I can bring my iPad closer so I just have to give you guys one more good look so you can see. Let me turn this light this way. Did you guys have fun? I hope you all had as much fun as I did. There they are.
Yeah.
It's got that nice tint of blue. See that? It's so gorgeous. Oh my goodness, you guys. Yes, yes, and yes. It's the holidays. It's time to have some fun. I hope you guys are inspired today to make something from home, make it for your family, share it. Check out the cookbook, livingfullcompany.com has all of our products. We'll be uploading more products here really soon. The cookbook can be found at livingfullcookbook.com. And I want to hear from you. So if you want to share any ideas, you want to, if you're a maker entrepreneur and you make baked goods and you like to cook or do things like that, I want to hear from you. So message me, Lisa, at livingfullcompany.com.
There's lots of thank yous and comments of appreciation. They're beautiful. How long will they, oh, I already read that one too. They say thank you for spending your Saturday with them.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you for the recipe and the demonstration from Mesa. Somebody's daughter is very excited to try this.
Yay! They are so good. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for you to try them. They are very delicious. And this will make about 3 dozen, so you'll have plenty to share.
You want to do metal work?
Yes, I have it on my list. I have all the ingredients ready to go shopping.
Yay! Awesome, you guys. I had an incredible time. You know, this month is Native American Heritage Month, and I'm just sharing this message of family and food and living full. The things that make us full are the things that we actually cannot see, the love, the connections, the relationships, and the things that make us closer and ultimately make us stronger, and the things that make life at home abundantly good. That's our mission. Thank you again so much, you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend and a great holiday season.
Your video, put your video back up.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a great demonstration. I can't wait to try these cookies. I think we're going to actually try it ourselves.
Awesome.
So if anybody else has any questions for us later or for Lisa, either email her or send them to the library. And like I said, we'll still be on Zoom if anybody wants to chat with her.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Lisa.
Absolutely. Bye, guys. Go net.